Hey guys, today we're bringing on Brendon Elliott, the owner and founder of Little Linksters Association for Junior Golf here in Orlando, Florida. Brendon is probably the best guy I can think of on the planet to reach out to if you're thinking about getting your kid into golf. This is a really cool episode. He shares some insights on starting kids off, and I think a lot of it translates to the adults as well. So enjoy.
This is Golf Essentials with Casey Borg.
Cool. So we are here with Brendon Elliott, really good friend of mine. Brendon runs Little Linksters Association for Junior Golf here in Orlando. He's one of the most humble guys I know, so he's not going to brag about himself too much, so I'll do it for him. Brendon won the PGA's National Award last year for junior golf development. So super cool. Super excited to have him on. Hey, Brendon, how you doing, man?
Hey, Case, how are you, sir?
Good. So Little Linksters, Brendon, you've been at it for like 10 years. Give us like the 2-minute rundown. Like what's the Little Linksters all about? What are you guys doing?
It's so the 2-minute synopsis, that's what you're looking for. Because I could talk about it forever, but 10 years. This past August was our 10-year anniversary. As we go further and further along, it becomes more aware to me that this is something that continues to be a need in the industry. But we started it 10 years ago at a single daycare. It was the daycare that my daughter eventually wound up going to when she was 3. There was a lot of activities that they offered for kids that seemed to me to be fairly complex, but they could learn Japanese and computers and keyboarding and music and karate. And so I asked the director of the daycare, could we try doing golf? And he's like, oh, don't you think that's a little complex for kids?
So we're talking like 3-year-olds, right?
Oh,
I mean, daycare is like 3, 4, really little.
We had a couple 2-year-olds at the onset. And
wow.
We had a couple spread out throughout the years, but it was amazing to me that he thought golf would be too complex. Well, they've got Japanese and keyboarding and so he said, sure, if you want to give it a go. And I found it shockingly easy to teach kids at this age, because I think early on I had an understanding, even in the our infancy stages of the programming, that you don't have to teach kids these ages. You can't teach kids these ages the fundamentals that we usually try to begin with older kids or even adults. It's just getting them immersed in the whole golf lifestyle. And that's, I think, getting them familiar with the game is more important than, all the fundamentals that you would typically teach. And I think this is why most golf professionals shy away from working with younger kids, because they think of the complexity that is golf when you're teaching somebody new, and just immediately disregard that as something you can do with young kids. And I just see it differently. So it's
sort of the default setting is the technical route, what the shaft plane is and the backswing, stuff like that. When
exactly
you're dummying it down for kids, and turns out that whole approach works for adults too, right? I mean, it's pretty much everybody. Keep it simple.
There's one common thread that I think, and no disrespect to instructors that have been doing this for years and been very successful and have a lot of students that have done well, but I think sometimes we just lose what the most important thing is, whether it's a 3-year-old or a 90-year-old, is people want to have fun playing the game, and that's the bottom line. So how you communicate with them is important, how interactive it is, how much their understanding of what you're teaching them is, and not talking in complicated terms like a lot of instructors may do, because it's just confusing to the students. And a lot of times the students will just nod their head like they understand, but they really don't understand.
I love it.
Long term, that just can create problems. We've had issues in the past few years, and we're luckily rebounding in our industry, but the number one reason why people don't play golf, besides, time and money, is it's just not that fun. So you got to make fun a primary focus, whether it's
Definitely.
little kids or adults.
Definitely. That's the only way they're sticky, otherwise, people try it, they figure it out. All right. It sounds really hard. Maybe they have a couple days of it, but if it's not fun and if it's not something that they see as feasible for themselves,
yeah,
it's easy to sort of give up on it. Right.
Well,
that's really cool.
There's a lot of people that come into the game, get that good first taste, want to get better, and realize quickly that you got to put a lot of work in this game to get better.
Yep.
And not necessarily something people have time to do. So
yep.
We as instructors need to know at the onset that people need to have fun. It's a game, it's enjoyable, it's outside. And it sounds cliche sometimes about all the advantages to playing golf, not just for kids, but for everybody. And it's not cliche. It's the reason why people play the game.
Yep, for sure. Brendon, so walk me through, say, you got a first timer, say a 5-year-old's coming out. Walk me through like the first couple months. What kind of things are you guys doing with them? What does that process look like?
So, Case, you know a lot of our instructors, and
mm-hmm.
First and foremost, I need to have instructors that understand how to interact with young kids. It's of primary importance. So there's different things that I look for. Did they get down to the kids' level? Can they interact with 3 and 4-year-olds? And that's not the only ages, obviously, that we teach, but
sure, it
takes a special person. So initially, we're just getting them used to what golf is. So we have a coloring book that we use. It's kind of our characters telling the story of what golf is and a little bit of the history of the game and why people play to have fun. And there's a lot of the virtues that are hidden within the game that our characters in our coloring book talk about with the kids. And then we get into some of the basics, but on a very, very preliminary, very easy level of how you hold the club, what the parts of the clubs are.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get into swing plane and things like that, obviously. The kid would have no idea.
Right.
But we do break the swing down using our characters in the coloring book to really simplify it. And we use terms, for example, like tick-tock, which is the back and through. And how we say that, the tick and the tock, is talking about the pace of the swing. And the kids don't know that. They don't know that we're talking about the pace of the swing. They just let things and it works.
Yep.
So it's very basic stuff. And as we go and I'm very excited about what we got going for 2019 and forward, but we're doing different stages now where we do the intermediate program where we get them, into the game of golf, what the feeling of the game of golf is, the very basic stuff. And then we work in the short game. Then we have a level 2 program where we, get them ready for the golf course. And then we have a level 3 program to get them ready for playing in more of a competitive setting. So it's doing all the things that you would traditionally do with working with kids, but doing it in steps that really make sense for the ages that we're working with.
Nice. I love it. So ushering them into the game, and then I know you guys have programs for, even more advanced players that want to play high school golf, college golf, earning scholarships at college, things like that. Super cool. Just to change it gear, just slightly, those same people that are getting started in golf, and this could be applicable to whether they're kids or teenagers or even adults getting going, like in your experience, like, do you guys give any advice, sort of take home advice for parents? Like, hey, are there things that they can do with their kids at home or maybe on their own? Anything that you guys advise parents to do or an approach that you would best like to see parents have,
Yeah, it's really important that And we really encourage this for the kids in our program, and not just kids in our program, but kids that we work with privately, that the parents are on the same page with the coaches and what we're doing and what we're working on. So let me break it down first with the kids in the program. When we say to the parents and to the kids, if you really want to progress, you're going to have to put in just as much time outside of organized practices as you do, outside. So there's, and kids get confused sometimes when we say you need to practice. They think that means going to the driving range, going to the golf course, and people are busy, so parents can't necessarily get them to the golf course or the driving range. But there's plenty of things you can do at home. You can hit putts on the carpet at home. You can look in a mirror with your setup. I mean, a lot of the preliminary things with the swing, your grip, setup, alignment, those are all things you can do just looking in a mirror at home. So that's practice. And it's something that I try to instill, not just in the kids in our programs, but my private lesson students. It's something that I try to constantly and try to get that through to them, that little things, it's like working out. You don't have to go, hit it hard in the gym for 1 or 2 hours. If you do little things each and every day, that's just as effective, if not even more effective than these huge practice sessions.
I love that. Yeah. And if the kids actually like golf, if they're having fun, then golf is top of mind when they're home. They're watching it on TV. They're playing with a golf club while they're sitting there. They're putting on the rug. I mean, I remember doing that. I grew up in Maine, right? And in the winters, I never saw a golf ball fly, but I remember just grooving 4-foot putts over a dime in my bedroom, and I could tell you when the snow broke in the spring, I was ready to go. Like, I was holing putts, and it helps.
Oh yeah,
that sort of mental work really, really does. And I'm convinced that doesn't happen without the enjoyment of the game.
Oh,
right?
It's always going to come back to that. There's no question. No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, which brings me to like another conversation, probably a whole other conversation, but the mistakes that you probably witness parents making, either the overbearing parent that's trying to micromanage every motion. I think that's cutting into the enjoyment, and long run, I got to think that's hurting the kids' chances of picking up the game for life. Don't you?
Yeah, and it's sad to see that situation happen. And hey, and here's the thing about it. I'm a parent, you're a parent. It's very easy to fall into that trap. Very, very easy, because you want the best for your kids. And I don't think that parents necessarily do these things that we're talking about on purpose. They really, truly feel that they're helping their kids. But if you're in a situation where they're getting lessons with a coach or they're doing a program, you have to instill all your trust into that coach. And it's a process. And I say that all the time to my private lesson kids, that this is a process. There's going to be a lot of bad days, and that doesn't necessarily mean that whatever we're working on is the wrong thing that we're working on. You're making a change, and people really need to fall in love with the process and fall in love with practice, and not necessarily equate what you shoot in a round with if you're progressing long term. Yeah,
it's a long game. It's not the little micro ups and downs, taking the long vision, right?
Yeah.
Where am I going to be in a year or 2 years, as opposed to what did I do last Tuesday or my last shot, right? I can't stand seeing parents, micromanaging from shot to shot. They hit one and the kid says, "What did I do, Dad?" And Dad rips him apart because he fell off balance, or some tip that is only hurting the kid's confidence.
It was funny watching the Tiger and Phil match the other day. I think it was Pat Perez that said a golf pro only hits 3 or 4 shots in a round, a tour professional, that they hit exactly where they wanted to hit it. So why would a parent think that they're 7-year-old's going to be able to hit perfect shots every time.
That's so true. That's so true. And anybody who's played any golf gets that.
Yeah.
It's so rare to hit a shot that just comes off the way you want it. So,
Yep.
you know, what qualities do you see in kids that, you know, your most successful kids, the ones that are coming back, the ones that are really improving? What qualities do you see in them? The ones that are really doing it well and having fun and getting better, you know?
There's a young lady that I coach that she just loves the game so much that she'll put the work in, and it's not even work. She doesn't see it as work. She'll put her practice time in before school now because, you know, we've got the shorter days now and the sun goes down earlier, and she's always doing something, whether it's putting at home on the carpet or, like I said, going before school. And it's not work. It's not, I said putting in the work. I don't necessarily mean that. It's she loves the game so much that she knows you have to put in the time to get better. And I question sometimes whether the kids truly love the game, or we've already talked about this a little bit, or the parents love the idea of their child loving the game as much as they do.
Right.
And that sometimes is really detrimental. So I would say, you know, it's a constant theme with me, but those that are successful love the game.
Yep. That's it. You
Mhm.
you don't have enough gas in the tank if you don't love it. It's
No,
that simple. It's such a long haul. So
people think there's a secret to the game of golf, and there is. It's being passionate about the game. It's very
just
easy.
like it.
And they keep digging for you know, that key, that secret, and they just overlook the simplest thing, which is a passion for it.
Yep. And the beauty is, especially with your program, you don't have to be a tour star to succeed. You know, you've got all sorts of avenues where kids can have a great time and even move into careers in golf. And
Yeah,
I think it's spectacular, man. What you're doing is really, really good stuff.
thanks.
It's awesome that you came and chatted with me here. And guys, if you are in the Central Florida area and you've got kids that, you know, you might consider getting into the game, Little Linksters is the place to go for that. Hit up littlelinksters.com, Linksters, littlelinksters.com. There's all kinds of programs, all kinds of ways to get your kids involved. Brendon has got the backing of people like Jack Nicklaus and Annika Sorenstam, and Jordan Spieth, I know, supports the program. So this is a killer way to get your kids involved with golf. And I can tell you, Brendon is the right guy to entrust with your kids because he's the nicest and most humble guy, and he gets it. A lot of instructors don't. So,
And if I could, Case, I just want to interject real quick.
Sure, man.
It's a game for everybody. So that's a big thing that we believe with Little Linksters. You know, we are a nonprofit organization. So if a child doesn't have the means to play financially, we'll find a way to have them take part in our programming. If a child has special needs, there's absolutely no reason why that child should not have a golf club in their hand if they want to. So it's really a game that's for everybody, and everybody can be successful in it too.
So cool. Love it, man. You know, to that end, guys, Little Linksters is nonprofit. So if your company, your small business or big business wants to get behind it, just email Brendon directly. I'll leave that in the notes, but his email is Brendon, Brendon, at littlelinksters.com. B, I'm sure you're welcoming any sponsorship type conversations, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Cause it takes a lot of work to reach out to as many kids as we want to, and we're trying to. So yeah, I'm open to any ideas, any partnership ideas that anybody may have.
Sweet. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Case.